With fall fast approaching, we wanted to talk about something fun today. So we are going to be doing English paper piecing with a modern twist. Traditional English paper piecing is done by hand. It kind of looks like this. It's very tedious, but super fun still. I am a lazy paper piecer. So a lot of people, if you're doing a hexagon, they'll cut out a slightly larger hexagon and then either glue or sew based. But I use a mini charm pack when I'm doing it. You can also use a jelly roll and cut it into those 2.5-inch squares and just fold your pieces around, glue, press, and pull them out. So today we are going to be doing a modern pillow. It's super simple, and I have decided on my layout, we've also made a fun little template. One of the biggest challenges with English paper piecing is getting them to lay flat in the area that you want them to. So I designed this template. They're all perfectly 1/4 inch apart, so you don't have to worry about it. And I'm gonna set this down right in the middle of my piece here. And I've laid out my hexagons the way I want, and I'm gonna move them over here. So we'll start, and you use washable school glue. Doesn't matter the brand. You just want to make sure that it's washable. Put a dollop on there and press your hexagon. And we will keep doing this here. You just want to make sure you have enough glue that it's not going to move around when you're quilting. And these hexagons are so fun. It's a great opportunity if you have fabric to use to fussy cut with. It can be super fun. All you need is those 2.5-inch squares and some hexagon templates, and you're ready to go. Let's see. And we've got a fun little pattern here. This set of hexagons was made with just a simple mini charm pack. But there's so many different designs that you can use. So for this one, we're just doing a basic design, but I'll show you later. We started out doing a couple of different methods for laying out the hexagons so that they would be perfect, or as close to perfect as you can get them. And one of the methods that we used was finding a stabilizer that would be wash away that you could print on. And that ended up working actually pretty well, but I haven't washed the pillow yet, so you can see what it looks like here in just a moment. But it was kind of fun just seeing all of the different ways that you could lay it out. We designed a witch's hat, a pumpkin, and then a traditional piece like this, but you could do it for almost any holiday. It makes a great decorative pillow, and there's so much you can do. You can quilt the whole thing, you can only quilt the hexagons, whatever you want to do, it's up to you, but it is a fun thing that you can do with your kids, your grandkids, your friends, family. We just got my niece into it. She's a sweetheart. I went home to Seattle, and we had a blast. She could sit and do her English paper piecing, and we could all be together, and it was fantastic. She was learning how to do the sewing method, where you sew all the pieces together and then pull your template out. And it's been such a joy just to see how simple it is and how it can bring us all together. All right, we're coming up here. Just make sure you're gluing all your pieces down. Give them a firm press there. This is a great use if you have extra glue sticks lying around. It can be really, really fun. The other cool part about this project is that it can be done with push quilting as well. So if you don't have a long arm and maybe you only have the little Rebel or a domestic machine, you can do this on your domestic as well. It's a great way to push quilt. It's done a little bit differently, but it's still a similar philosophy. The only thing that's different is the ruler work. All right, we've got 3 more to go here until we have to move our template. And all right, this one's kind of fun. The little owl is happy there. So now that I've finished up all of these, I'm simply gonna lift up my template and just scooch it over just a little bit. And this will keep everything in line. You don't have to worry about it. And I've got 4 more to make an even pillow here. So we can set that there. Okay. Perfect. So now when we lift up our template, it's perfect and ready to go for our pillow. This is our hexagon pillow that we did earlier. This is a pumpkin. It's a more intricate design and it does take a little bit more practice, but we've used it as a batting pillow. So it is full of all sorts of different battings and scraps from other projects. It makes a great little piece to have in your quilting room. So typically, if you were going to be doing push quilting, you would want to go straight down this line. But since we're not doing push quilting, we're gonna need to go 1/4 of an inch over so that we can have the lines for our ruler work. So what I'm gonna do is use a heat erasable marker. You could use chalk, whatever is most comfortable for you. And we're just gonna go right up this angle here at 1/4 of an inch on our ruler. I've got my true grips on here and I'm just gonna mark this here so I know right where my ruler needs to be to hit those points. And we'll go all the way across like this, making sure our 1/4 of an inch is lined up. And it looks like this one just scooched just a little bit. So we'll move that over. There we go. And then mark your 1/4 of an inch. And what we're lining up here is on the 1/4 inch line, it's gonna be the points of all of your hexagons. So those should line up pretty darn close to perfect. And we'll just mark those here. All right, and we're just gonna mark until we come to the end here. You just want 1/4 of an inch away from each direction here. So we'll go to this one. And like I said, if you were planning on push quilting this, you would want to make your marks directly up the center of your line, not 1/4 of an inch away. This is just a fun piece that you can do on the long arm. So if you have one, it does make it a little bit more fun and simple because your pillow is already quilted, you've got the machine, and it adds just a little bit of fun to your fall traditions here. This is not something that I ever thought could be done with a long arm. So it's been a fun adventure just learning to embrace it and see what all you can do. Not everything has to be done on a domestic machine, and it can be so much fun to have this big open space, make it really simple. If you wanted to use your channel locks for this, you could, because we are going to be going on all 6 directions here. I guess 3, because they cross over, but we're going to be hitting each corner from a different angle. think I might have missed one here. Let me just double check. Yep, I did. All right, and we'll grab this guy as well. All right, if we look, there's an abnormally large space right here, so we'll grab this one. That'll tell you kind of where you missed. All right, so that should be all of them going in this direction. So we're gonna go ahead and quilt each of these lines first, and then we'll move on. So I do have the ruler base attached to my 19X Elite. I am using Finesse Pearl White on top, and it doesn't matter what your bobbin is because there's no back to this. It's just batting and your top fabric, so you don't have to worry about having any sort of backing in there. It's totally good. And we're gonna use our True Cut ruler here, and I'm gonna slide these out of the way just a little bit. All right, so first thing we're gonna do is line up our ruler along the line we just made. We'll put that there. We're gonna come to the edge, bring up our bobbin, slide that underneath here. Perfect. All right, so we're 1/4 of an inch away. We've got our ruler foot on, and now we're ready to cruise. So we'll come down. I am using precise mode, and I have my stitches at 11 SPI. Okay, I'm coming to the corner of my first hexagon here, so I just want to tack it down. There we go. And I'm going to adjust my hand here. Perfect. So I do have my ruler base on, so it limits me just a little bit on my throat space. That's okay, because we'll come back and quilt that. And there we go. All right. So we can come back here, and even though I'm driving all over these hexagons, they're staying in place because we did add that tiny bit of glue there. So you just want to make sure that you're quilting the whole pillow, because that is going to get you your completed design. So we can bring up the bobbin, or you can just go, and that'll be okay too, because that is your edge. It doesn't necessarily matter. Just make sure that your ruler is lined up on the line that you marked, either with your chalk or your heat erasable marker. You could even use a friction pen for this, whatever works best for you. We'll come right in there. All right, bring up our bobbin. Perfect. And then we'll just keep going. We'll start in the corner here. Come down, give it a pause, adjust, and we're going to quilt all of these lines here. The fun part about modern English paper piecing is you just go right over the top. You don't have to worry about trying to stitch everything together. This is a fun twist on a traditional method. So we've got that here. We're just going to keep going along. Make sure you just tack down that corner point there. Just make sure you've got your clips out of the way. Sometimes they'll catch on that ruler base if you don't have your backing wide enough. So make sure you're not driving over those. And I'm going to slide and pivot my hand here. All right. Should back up just a little bit there. Give it a pause, readjust our ruler here, and we can keep going. All right, see this lift here? These kind of pop up. That's exactly why we use that school glue. Any kind of washable school glue will work, but that will help to tack down your hexagons, and even though they lift up on the edges, that center piece is really tied down there. So we'll come up on this corner here, and it's okay if you have to backtrack just a little bit to make sure that you get that corner nice and smooth. This is a good time if you have a stiletto to use that. Something just to make sure you're not getting your fingers too close to the needle. All right. The nice part is that ruler foot really does prevent you from the machine running over your fingers. It's a good little barrier to have there when you're getting up close and personal with that needle there. All right. Perfect. We've just got a few more rows to go, and then we'll start going the other directions. Just pivot my hand here. The nice part is you can use any of the True Cut rulers for this, so whatever you have, it's nice because they have that beveled edge. You can use them for cutting, or you can use them on the long arm. So everything works together and it works flawlessly here. So kind of move my hand. All right, we've come to our last one here. So we'll go ahead, tack this one down. Just make sure I'm right on that red line there. And we'll bring that down. All right. So we've got our pieces here. Now we're gonna go the other directions. So the same method as we used before. I like to use a different color just so I don't get confused. If you wanted to right now, you could go ahead and get rid of all these marks and move on to the next one. It's completely up to you. But we're gonna go here. And we're gonna, once again, go 1/4 inch from the edge of our hexagons here. So we'll just mark these. And so you can see each of these points goes right through that 1/4 inch line here. Just make sure you don't miss any. Let's see. Got our 1/4 inch here. And you just want to go all the way across. And don't worry about it not necessarily being 100% even. In regards to your edges, you'll fill that in after the fact. The main part right now is just getting your hexagons tacked down. All right, I'm gonna scooch my machine out of the way just a little bit. And make sure you get that 1/4 inch there. Just line it up with the points of the hexagons. All right, so that lines up with each of those. Now we are ready to quilt. So we'll go ahead and start by putting our ruler up here, slide our machine over, and we're gonna start on this edge here. Make sure we're all in line, and then we can go ahead, slide right across, tack down that little edge piece there. And the nice part about it being in precise mode is when I stop, the machine stops as well. So I don't have to worry about adding any extra lines or marks in my pillow. The machine is gonna do a lot of that work for me. I don't have to worry about it. Just make sure you're lined up on that edge. Pick up the little edge piece there. And you're good to go. And I am actually going to remove my clamp here. When I'm coming to this edge, I want to make sure everything lines up and looks good. And we'll move on to our next one here. Line up on your blue line or whatever color your line is. We'll start here, activate our precise mode, tack down that first corner, come across, and we're just gonna keep going here onto our next hexie until we make it all the way across our edge here. And there we go. We're ready for our last angle. So the fun part is you can already see this starting to come together, but there are these extra patterns that are made by the quilting. So we'll end up with this awesome cross-hatched look once we get into it. You can see right now we have diamonds from our rows. We're gonna cut through that and it'll look so cool. So let's go on ahead here. We're gonna mark our next piece and we're gonna use green for this last one. So again, that same repetition, we are going to be going 1/4 inch from the edge of your hexagon here. We'll slide that up, and I'm actually gonna move my machine over a little bit. And go all the way up here. So you're lining up the points of your hexagons with the 1/4 inch line on your ruler. Make sure you get right in between so you have that continuous line. And then we'll just keep going here. All right, we've finished up with our piece here. And now we have our pillow ready. If you wanted to continue and quilt the rest of this corner, you can do that. You can quilt all the edges, cut it off however you see fit, and you'll have the perfect pillow. You can add a zipper, you can do the fold over method, whatever works best for you. But we wanted to teach a fun technique where you could bring together a traditional method with a modern twist. So we wanted to teach a method of a traditional English paper piecing with a modern twist. This is something that I've not seen done before on the long arm, but it's a fun activity. You can do it quickly in an afternoon, or you can make something as large as you want. I did want to take a moment to discuss our little template that we have here. So this will be available for download. It was cut out with a die cut machine. There are several different ones on the market, so we will have it as a downloadable as an SVG file. We'll also have a PDF, so if you don't have that, you can cut it out with scissors. However you see fit, you can make it work. But just know you can do anything with it. You could make a fun project like this where it's just simple rows. We can make a pumpkin, you can make a witch's hat, a Christmas tree. There's so much you can do. We can't wait to see it. Post it on Instagram, Facebook, share it with us. You can send it in via email. We'd love to share that with everyone and build the community. Thank you again for joining us with Tuesdays with Grace. We hope you have a great day.